What's up everyone, I'm Callum on Toast, and today's video is going to be a lot longer than the normal GBL videos that I do. I figured instead of just showcasing a few of my final battles before I hit Legend rank, that I should actually show how my team performs against the entire meta of the Open Ultra League. That way you can have a much better understanding of how to play this team, rather than just showing like a few random battles here and there. And yeah, so the team I'm running is Gengar with Shadow Claw, Shadow Punch and Shadow Ball. So triple Ghost, obviously against a normal type or a dark type, Gengar's going to struggle quite a bit. But I have Obstagoon and Scrafty, which can handle both of those typings pretty comfortably. The reason I'm running Shadow Ball is just because it does a little bit more damage than Sludge Bomb in the neutral matchups. So a lot of the time I can hit Shadow Ball, they don't shield, and then I can farm down. On my Obstagoon I'm running Counter, Night Slash and Gunk Shot. That Gunk Shot is there for the Charmers, and I use the Obstagoon as like my bait Pokemon, so I can bring out either the Counter User or the Charmer, which would otherwise just destroy my backline. So if I can bring it out early in the game, then I can bring my Gengar back in, take out whichever Pokemon they brought in, and then my Scrafty with Counter, Power Punch and Foul Play should be pretty comfortable in the back. There will be times where the opponents have a Counter User and a Charmer, or they have two Charmers for example, and in those scenarios there's not really much you can do really, so you probably just will lose that. But if that's not the case, then this team does usually have quite a lot of play. And yeah, with that being said, I'm just going to start with some of the more common leads, and let's just go into the video now. So against Giratina in the lead, Giratina is often paired with a Registeel in the back, and then the third Pokemon varies. So what I like to do is farm up to a Shadow Punch and then switch into Obstagoon, and hopefully I can tank the Dragon Claw. In this case they don't throw, but they bring in a Melmetal, which is actually pretty good for us because it means that we can tank a superpower. We are going to shield the first one, and it doesn't really matter too much if they bait us or not. In this case they don't, so this means that the second superpower is going to do less damage. We farm them down, and now because the second superpower did less damage, we're actually going to be able to survive a Dragon Claw as well. Now we can throw the Night Slash, and at this range they're not going to be able to farm us down before we get to a Night Slash, but they switch into Registeel to catch the Night Slash. But that's okay, we can switch into Scrafty. Now we're going to go for the Power Up Punch. We're going to shield this because it could be a Focus Blast, and it is. Focus Blast does quite a lot of damage to Scrafty, but it doesn't one-shot. And now at this point we're lagging quite a bit, so are they. We get to another Power Up Punch. They have to shield at some point, right? But apparently not. So yeah, we're in a pretty comfortable position here. We're just going to go straight Foul Play, no point baiting. And my opponent knows that their only win condition is if I bait, so they don't shield and I take that game. So up against another Giratina lead, we're going to try to do the same thing, but there we lagged at the start, so we have to switch out earlier just to make sure we can catch the Dragon Claw. They actually farmed a little bit extra, but then threw anyway. And that tells me that they don't have anything to beat this Obstagoon. And they should come in with Armored Mewtwo, so that is definitely not an Obstagoon counter. Obviously it has Dynamic Punch, which is going to take out my Obstagoon, but we can just shield that and then we should be pretty comfortable. So we get the first shield there. We're going to shield this, we just assume that they'll go for 2 Dynamic Punches. So we're going to shield a second time. And now here we're going to overfarm quite a bit before we throw. I don't think we can fast move down. And we take out the Mewtwo there. They bring Giratina back in, so we're going to go for another Night Slash. We don't have any shields left, but Dragon Claw isn't going to do too much, and we go for another Night Slash. And they don't shield again, so that's fine with us. And now we can come in with Scrafty, and they do have a Registeel in the back as we thought, so we're going to go straight Power Up Punch this time. and you'll be able to see how much damage a Focus Blast does against Scrafty now. So it does like 70%, I would say, but you can comfortably live that, and then these lock-ons aren't doing much. They're going to have to throw to take us out, and now we can come in with Gengar, farm down, and then likely farm down the Giratina too. And yeah, they were at such low health that they decided to quit. So against Cresselia, we often see that the Cresselia stays in. And so what you want to do is you want to go 1 over the Shadow Ball, and that would be a CMP tie if they're running Future Sight. So you always shield this if they throw after your Shadow Ball. It is a Moonblast, so we could have tanked it, but shielding it is safe. Now they come in with Umbreon, so we're going to switch into Obstagoon, and they have a Talonflame here, so we're not going to shield this. Even if it's Brave Bird, it doesn't do enough to take us out, so we want to throw 2 counters between each Incinerate. So another 1, 2. And now if they don't throw here, we're going to be able to throw another 2. So 1, 2. And that shouldn't have been a CMP tie because we threw 4 turns worth of moves and then the charge move, whereas they threw 5 turns worth of moves with 1 Incinerate. But the game is pretty inconsistent, so stuff like that does happen, unfortunately. But we're fine here. We're going to take out this Talonflame, and then we're going to switch straight away into Scrafty, and that should be GG's. And it is. So in the case that Cresselia switches out, if they switch into Registeel, a Registeel with a lot of energy can be pretty dangerous for my backline. So what I wanted to do there was catch the Flash Cannon on Scrafty, but I was just slightly too late. So I throw the Shadow Ball. I'm going to try the catch again, and I get it this time. So now I can just farm down with counters. And they're not able to get to another move. And then we'll go farm up a little bit before we throw the foul play. This should be a CMP tie. And it is. So we're going to let this go through. We have a Shadow Ball on Gengar, but they actually throw a Grass Knot, so that's good. And then they come in with Defense Deoxys, so we're going to throw the foul play. And now we can switch into Gengar. They still have 2 shields, so the safest play is just to go straight Shadow Punch. They do shield that first one. We're lagging a little bit, but that's fine. And now they're going to throw a charge move. We're just going to shield this anyway. They go for Rock Slide for some reason. And now, yeah, the Cresselia has very little energy, so we should be able to get to 2 Shadow Punches. And it looks like my opponent just isn't going to bother shielding anymore. And I don't blame them. So, yeah, pretty comfortably deal with Cresselia leads. Giratina. So again, we lag at the start, so we're going to have to switch at 5. It takes 6 to get to the Ominous Wind, but obviously being a turn behind, we have to switch turn earlier. So they bring in a Charmer, and we're going to go straight for Gunk Shot. There's no reason at all to go for Night Slash, and we take out the Ninetales there. I do find that a lot of the time they don't shield, so you can regain switch advantage, and you're obviously in a really good position now. The Politoed has farmed up to 2 Weather Balls, so I'm going to bring in my Scrafty. And I'm just going to tank whatever the Politoed throws at me. Weather Ball doesn't do too much damage. I can tank 3 of them pretty comfortably. And we're going to let this go through again. Save both our shields against the Giratina, but they actually threw a Blizzard, so now it's going to be pretty close. We get to the first Shadow Punch, and we might as well just go for the Shadow Ball here. We're not going to get to another 2 moves. So we get both shields there, and now, providing they don't double boost, we should be pretty comfortable here. And we get to the foul play here, and this is going to take out the Giratina and give me the win. Alright, so against Melmetal this can be pretty tricky because you can't really switch into Obstagoon because of the damage from Superpower. So what I like to do is shield first, throw the Shadow Ball, and if I can deny their fast move, I can actually KO them before they get to another charge move. And then as soon as they bring in another Pokemon, unless Gengar has a really favourable matchup, I'm going to switch straight away into Obstagoon. That way if they do have a Machamp or like a Charmer, then I'm still saving the Gengar to try and beat that. But they're not switching out of this Gyarados, so I'm going to be able to get a shield here. I'm going to get to another Night Slash, and I will get to a third Night Slash before they get to another Aqua Tail. But it does mean that they're going to farm us down, but that's fine. And now I'm going to bring in Scrafty. Aqua Tail is not going to do too much, and they obviously can't throw a Crunch against Scrafty. And then whatever they had in the back must have been weak to Scrafty or Gengar, so they quit. And then up against another Melmetal. This time we don't get the Shadow Claw through, and we're also not going to be able to deny their fast move on our Shadow Ball. So that means they are going to get to a second Rock Slide if they don't shield this. So we're going to have to switch into Obstagoon to catch the move. And unfortunately they have a Machamp, but this is the reason why we bring in Obstagoon, to bait out this Machamp now. Now we can bring Gengar back in. We are going to shield once because this Rock Slide, even though it won't KO, it'll do quite a lot of damage. And then we're going to go for the Shadow Punch here. This will either force a shield or take out the Machamp, and we get a shield. We get to another Shadow Punch, and this will be a CMP tie. But if it isn't, we're going to switch into Scrafty, but it was. But you'll see here, we do survive a Rock Slide as it's just a regular Machamp. And now Scrafty one-on-one against Giratina can handle it fairly well. The foul plays probably do around 40% damage, but the counter damage does add up over time. So we just go for 2 foul plays and we should be able to win this matchup. My opponent did lag there, but I don't think it mattered too much, and we're able to take that game. So up against Registeel. Registeel isn't that common in the lead, and the only time I saw it was actually in the set after I hit Legend rank. But again, you can't really switch into Obstagoon because of the threat from Focus Blast. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try and catch the second charge move, and we do. What I found is that they often throw the second charge move straight away, whereas the first one they might overfarm expecting a catch. And now they're bringing in Cresselia, so this is pretty fine for the Obstagoon. We don't really need to shield. We will be able to tank the Moonblast most likely. And then even at this health they can't farm us down, so we're going to get to the Night Slash. And yeah, they can't farm us down still, so they have to throw a move. We're going to bring the Gengar back in. We're going to commit to the farm down, but this could be a future sight, so we shield it, and it is a future sight. We're going to throw the Shadow Ball straight away. And then we're going to switch into Scrafty. Oh no, we're not. Now we're going to switch into Scrafty, and we catch the Drill Peck. Doesn't KO, so either they'll throw straight away or they're going to farm to 2 Drill Pecks. But Gengar does win CMP, so a bit of a pointless exercise really. Even if they're at the Drill Peck now, we win CMP, and because it's a Shadow Zapdos, that Shadow Punch is going to take them out, and then we get to the Shadow Ball, and this is going to take out the Registeel. So yeah, the steel leads are kind of tough, but you can play around it. So up against Swampert, we're going to switch straight away. They bring in the Togekiss, another Charmer. That's great that we're seeing it now. We go for the Gunk Shot, and they don't shield, so we've got switch advantage. And they throw a move. So we're going to bring in Scrafty, and I think we're going to go straight for foul play. We'll let this first Hydro Cannon go through. And we are going to shield this. It could be an Earthquake, but it is just a Hydro Cannon. They switch into Obstagoon, but we've got quite a lot of energy and we're just going to tear this Obstagoon apart. We're going to shield this and then farm down, and then we should be able to just farm down the Swampert as well. Yeah, and we're able to take that game. So against Shadow Swampert, this is actually slightly different. I didn't even recognize this at the time, but if you see a Shadow Swampert in the lead, they likely have Snorlax or Shadow Snorlax and Registeel in the back. So it might be better to just stay in with Gengar and let it go down, but obviously you can't guarantee that it's going to be those two Pokemon in the back. So here I get the boost, so I'm going to commit both shields, and that is what I would advise you do against this team. Commit both shields on Obstagoon just to make sure you get rid of the Swampert, and then you can align the Gengar on the Registeel and then the Scrafty on the Snorlax. So they're going to take us out with Flash Cannon here. We come in with Gengar, but as I said, I didn't really know what the team was at this point. So what I tried to do was catch a Flash Cannon on Scrafty, but it was kind of stupid. And now they can Focus Blast me, come in with Snorlax, and they'll be able to get to a Body Slam and take out my Scrafty now. So that is not good. Now Gengar's going to come in. We only have Shadow Ball that we can throw, so this is not looking good for us. Fortunately, most Snorlaxes run Body Slam and Superpower, so it is just the lick damage that's going to be doing most of the damage to us. But this just happens to be the only Snorlax running Earthquake. But I think even at that range, a Body Slam probably would have KO'd or come close to KOing. So just to show you that it is usually the same team, but I'm going to show you a slightly different way of playing it. And yeah, like I said, at this point I wasn't able to recognize that it was the same team. So here I catch the Hydro Cannon on my Obstagoon. And I actually just let another Hydro Cannon go through. And I go for the Night Slash. It was a CMP tie. But luckily they let that go through, so I can farm them down. And now what I should have done was wait out the switch clock. They bring in Snorlax, so instead of letting them lick me down, I'm going to throw a move, even though it was super resisted. And then I'm going to bring in Scrafty. Superpower will do a decent amount to Scrafty, but it can tank it fairly comfortably. So we're just going to build up our attack with Power Up Punch. Even now a Superpower isn't going to KO, but a Focus Blast probably will, so we're going to let that go through. They switch out into Registeel again. We're just going to keep on going straight Power Up Punch. We shield the Flash Cannon. We're going to get to another Power Up Punch. We expect a shield here. We switch into Gengar just to force them to throw their energy. And now we can come back in with Scrafty, counter down the Registeel, and then also counter down this Snorlax and take the win there. But yeah, I would definitely play it different now that I know what the team is. Alright, so up against counter users, Machamp is pretty much always going to switch out straight away, so we counter switch with the Scrafty against this Galarian Stunfisk. Throw the Power Up Punch as soon as we get to it. And now this will be an Earthquake, it does about 50% damage. And now we're going to go straight for the Foul Play. And this will take out the Stunfisk. It's unlikely that they'll shield, and they don't. So we're going to be able to get to a second Foul Play here. The second one only takes 6 counters to get to instead of 7. And now the Machamp is pretty low in health. They're switching to Berserker, so we're going to switch into Obstagoon, and obviously this could be a close combat, so we're going to shield it. We're going to throw the Night Slash, and we actually get the attack boost, so we're doing so much damage to this Berserker. There's no point shielding now. We can come in with Gengar. They've debuffed their defense twice, so we can farm down. And we got a Shadow Claw through there, so we'll be able to throw back-to-back Shadow Punches here and take the win. So there's the first one and then the second one. And we're able to take that game. Against Machamp, it's usually a fairly comfortable game as long as you can maintain switch advantage. Against Escavalier, Escavalier can have Drill Run as well as Acid Spray, so this is actually playable, so they do usually stay in. We throw the Shadow Ball because if they don't shield, then we're going to take them out. They do Acid Spray, but even then the counters aren't doing anything. So now, as I said with Scrafty, the second move it only takes 6 counters, so we throw on CMP again, and we get a second shield. They throw the Drill Run, and then switch into Talonflame, so we're going to throw the Shadow Ball, and then we're going to transfer the Incinerate damage onto our Obstagoon. They're likely to throw the Brave Bird here, but it's not going to take us out. And now we're going to get to a Night Slash. It doesn't KO, but one more counter does. And now they have an Ampharos. So we're going to throw the Night Slash here. Ampharos can be pretty tricky with shields down because it does have Focus Blast. So we'll come in with Scrafty, we'll count to the fifth Volt Switch there, and we're able to switch and catch the Focus Blast. And now they're not going to be able to get to another Focus Blast, so we can go straight for the foul play here and take out the Ampharos. So that was actually a pretty close game. Against Defense Deoxys, you'd expect them to Psycho Boost and dip, but they actually switch straight away. So again, we're going to go for the Shadow Ball, and then we're going to switch into Obstagoon. And our switch confuses our opponent, or I don't really know what happened, but they didn't end up throwing. But that's kind of worse because they can get quite a lot of farm now with the Defense Deoxys. Maybe that was what they wanted to do instead. We're going to let it go through. Rock Slide doesn't do too much damage, it's the counters that are doing all the damage. We throw the Night Slash and we get the boost, not really necessary there. We're going to come in with Gengar, we're going to have to shield this, and then they're probably going to switch out, and they do, into Shadow Swampert. So we're actually going to farm up to the Shadow Ball and then switch out. Now at full health, Scrafty can tank 2 Hydro Cannons from the Swampert, but I will be KO'd by the Mud Shots. But that's fine, we just want to get to the foul play here before we go down. So we get a shield there. Now we have a Shadow Punch which we're going to throw straight away. We get the shield, that was a CMP tie. And now we're going to throw 3 more Shadow Claws. They get the perfect sack swap, so we have to undercharge here. And we do it perfectly, so we can farm down and then throw a Shadow Punch into the Swampert. And we're able to take that game, so that was really close. And now another Defense Deoxys lead. They switch into Scrafty. So I didn't actually go up against Scrafty in the lead at all in these matches, but with Gengar it's not so bad. You can throw a Shadow Ball, and then here we catch the foul play. And now we're in a pretty good position here. Power Punch isn't going to do too much. Hopefully this KOs. But unfortunately it doesn't. But it doesn't matter, Power Punch isn't going to do much. And we're expecting them to bring Deoxys back in. We get to the foul play. And we get a shield from them. At this point they're probably going to throw a Psycho Boost and then switch. So we shield the first one. And they do actually go for a second one, so we're just going to let this go through. and they have a Snorlax in the back, so we're going to switch into Obstagoon. And this is a pretty good matchup. The superpower is going to do a lot of damage from a shadow, and actually depending on IVs, Snorlax can win the one shield here if they bait with Body Slam. So you'll see just how much damage this does. So yeah, with a slightly more attack weighted Snorlax there, they would have taken us out. But the Snorlax was so low that we could have come in with Gengar and probably taken it out, and then also taken out this Deoxys. Okay, so Obstagoon in the lead. Gengar has no play here, so we're going to switch into our own Obstagoon, and they bring in Cresselia. So this is winnable depending on if our opponent wants to double shield or not. So really we have to win switch advantage here. And we get the attack boost, so that's really going to help. That means that our next Night Slash will KO. And they actually throw a Grass Knot there, so that's really good for us. So we're going to throw the Night Slash. They do get to another move. We're going to shield this one, and it is a Moonblast, so that was a good shield. Our attack fell, but we'd already raised it once, so we're still at slightly higher attack than what we started with. They bring in their own Obstagoon, and they're going to throw the Cross Chop here. But we're going to come in with Scrafty. We're not going to shield this, and then we're going to counter it down. And it was actually just a Night Slash. And then here they bring in Gengar. What we try to do here is catch, but we lag a bit, so we're just going to shield this. It could be a Sludge Bomb. It isn't, and then we're just going to throw the Foul Play here. If this doesn't KO, we're going to switch into Gengar, but it does, and then we're able to take out the Obstagoon there. So that's pretty common to see Obstagoon, Cresselia and Gengar. Here's another way that I played it, because I realised that usually Obstagoon in the lead meant that we'd see Cresselia and Gengar in the back. So I let the first one go through, and then I switch into Obstagoon to catch the second one. And now they switch to try and catch a Cross Chop, but we're not running Cross Chop. And they switch into Giratina. Unfortunately, it's a Dragon Breath Giratina, so we will lose this matchup. And there's no point shielding here, I don't think, because they'll probably farm us down. We're going to come in with Gengar, and just to be on the safe side, we're going to go for the Shadow Ball. And we're going to switch into Scrafty. They're going to get a shield from us. And then they bring in Melmetal. So what we should do here is wait for them to throw and then throw a Foul Play. But instead we go for a Power Up Punch. We do get a shield here, so that's good. And we're going to shield this first one. It is a superpower, so the second one's not going to do as much damage. We get a counter through there, so the Melmetal will go down. But then we lag and we can't do anything, and the Obstagoon is able to get a counter in and take us out. And we can't do anything here, so against Obstagoon leads is very difficult to come back from. So yeah, it's up to you whether you want to switch out straight away or if you want to try and catch a Night Slash. But it is always more risky to try and catch the move, because if they don't throw, then they throw a Cross Chop into your Obstagoon, and that's really bad. So now against some flyers, against Talonflame we throw the Shadow Ball straight away. If they don't shield, we'll shield and then we'll farm down. So we farm down there. They bring in Umbreon, so we switch straight away into Obstagoon. They have an Abomasnow, so that's pretty much GG's. We know how one-sided the Scrafty Umbreon matchup is, so we're not going to bother shielding at all now. We lag a little bit there, we go for the Night Slash. We do get a shield, and yeah, we're not going to shield this. It's not even going to take us out. so they're going to have to throw again, which they do. And now we're going to come in with Scrafty. They switch into Umbreon. They realise that they have no chance, but they're just sitting there letting me counter them down. And then they're going to quit just before I counter them down fully. Didn't really know what the point in that was, but whatever. Another Talonflame lead. I think in this scenario they're going to shield it. So if they shield, you want to wait to see if they shield and then switch into Obstagoon and you'll catch the flame charge. Because obviously you're using Gengar, so no one is going to Brave Bird a Gengar, they're just going to go straight flame charge. You want to shield the second one because it will do more damage, and then you want to throw 2 counters before each Night Slash. And we get a shield there. We're going to come in with Gengar, farm them down. They have another Umbreon in the back. We switch into Scrafty and they have a Jellicent. So I have seen this line sometimes with Cresselia instead of Jellicent, or instead of the Abomasnow. And in that case you probably do want to shield against the Talonflame just to ensure that you line up the Scrafty on the Umbreon and the Gengar on the Cresselia. So that's what I would do differently in the future. But against the Jellicent, Scrafty beats both Umbreon and Jellicent pretty comfortably. So against Articuno, the same thing. We throw the Shadow Ball straight away, and then if they shield, we're going to switch into Obstagoon. We don't have to shield an Icy Wind. If they Hurricane us, then that's not great. But at least Obstagoon isn't a fighting type, so it's not super effective. We're not going to shield again. We go for the Night Slash here. And now they're not going to be able to farm us down. What we should really do is shield and then farm them down. But it's okay. With Articuno they don't often have an Umbreon, whereas Talonflame is usually paired with Umbreon. Excuse me. So they have a Registeel here, so we get the Shadow Ball off and then we switch into Scrafty. And now they have an Armored Mewtwo, so yeah, we're pretty comfortable here. We have 2 shields, and Dynamic Punch isn't actually going to do as much damage as a Focus Blast would do from Registeel, so we're going to let that go through. And now we're just going to go straight Power Up Punch and double shield against this Registeel. And yeah, one more counter should take out the Registeel here. And it does. Alright, so up against Dragon Breath users, usually they're paired with a 35 energy move. So what I like to do is switch after 6 Shadow Claws and then catch the move. So against Gyarados I caught the Aqua Tail, and we actually got a free counter in as we switched, which shouldn't really happen. But that just makes the matchup slightly more comfortable. We're going to get to another Night Slash before they get to the Aqua Tail here, forcing them to shield. And because they didn't have a counter switch to my Obstagoon, it makes me feel like Scrafty is going to be pretty good. So we're going to come back in with Gengar, farm them down, and now they have a Lapras, so we're going to throw the Shadow Ball straight away and then we'll switch into the Scrafty. This is just a Surf, so we're going to let it go through. Chances are they have something weak to Scrafty in the back, and they do. They have a Giratina, so we're just going to go straight Foul Play. We do have to shield something though, so we're going to shield the Dragon Claws, I guess. We'll go for another Foul Play here, and we get the last shield. So we shield here, and what we should have done was just stay in and hit another foul play. But instead we switch into Gengar, and now we don't have enough health to get to another charge move against Lapras. And now the Surf will do more damage than the Dragon Claw would, but it's still not enough to take us out, and one more counter and the Giratina goes down. So against Charizard we're going to do the same thing, we'll switch after 6. Because Dragon Claw isn't stab, I guess Charizard is less likely to throw straight away. And they actually switch into a XL Meganium, so I've never actually seen an XL Meganium, so that's kind of cool. Frenzy Plant isn't going to take us out, so we'll let it go through. And then they didn't shield the first one, so we're just going to go for the Gunk Shot here. And we take out the Meganium there. They'll probably come back in with the Charizard and farm down. We do get a shield, and now we have a move on the Gengar as well. And we saw the Dragon Breath go through, so it means that they didn't throw straight away. So we're going to switch into Scrafty and hopefully catch a Dragon Claw here, which we do, so that's awesome. Now this one probably is going to be a Blast Burn, so we're going to shield it. And now the Charizard is out of energy. So we get to the second foul play here. The Cresselia is likely going to overfarm and throw just before we get to another foul play. So that's what they do. And I miscalculated how much energy they had because I wanted to just farm to one extra move, but that was pointless. I could have just thrown the Shadow Punch straight away and then got to another Shadow Punch against the Charizard, but we ended up losing that game. Same thing here, except my opponent switches first into the Galarian Stunfisk, but because we were already going to switch, we end up going into Obstagoon here. So Obstagoon, the matchup isn't as good as Scrafty is, because we can't, unless we get the boost, we're not going to ramp up our counter damage, and Night Slash just doesn't do enough. So we're going to have to shield here, but they bet us with a Rock Slide, but they can't get to another Rock Slide, so that's good. And now we're going to go for the Night Slash. They don't shield, and then my opponent times their charge move perfectly and takes us out with a Dragon Claw. We're going to throw straight away with the Gengar, get the final shield, and they switch into the Melmetal. So this time what we're going to do is wait for them to throw, which we do. And this is a superpower, so now our foul play is going to do more damage because they've lowered both the attack and the defense. And now we're going to shield this superpower. And now we're forcing the Dragonite to either throw now, or they're going to have to try and commit to farming us down, which they're not going to be able to do, so we're going to be able to take out the Dragonite there. So against Charm users, a lot of the time they're going to switch out straight away. So in this case they switch into Umbreon, so that's basically the perfect scenario. We can come in with Scrafty, throw a couple of power up punches and then farm them down. Last resort is just going to tickle Scrafty, and I'm pretty sure we're gaining health with each snarl that they throw. So we're not going to shield this, and now we can just farm them down. We're going to throw one more counter and then throw a foul play. And the Clefable takes out the Scrafty. We're going to switch into Obstagoon here, and we get off the Night Slash. So there's really no point shielding the Obstagoon. If they superpower, that's fine, they still need to throw another move, which they're going to do. And now we can come in with our Gengar, farm them down, and now to play it safe we're just going to throw straight Shadow Punch. And if they decide to 2-shield, then that's fine, and my opponent actually decides to quit because they didn't have any play there. We just straight up hard countered them. So this time my opponent plays it slightly differently. and we must have fast moved desynced at the start because they're able to catch the Shadow Ball even though they shouldn't. They should be one turn behind, so that's really annoying. We switch in the Obstagoon. We're expecting a Brave Bird, but it means that we can actually farm them down and then get to the Gunk Shot and then throw it at the Clefable, and we're going to take them out here. And now we're even able to get to a Night Slash against this Giratina, so we're in a very good position here. We even get an unnecessary boost. We're going to come in with Scrafty to absorb all this damage, and I think my opponent's just going to quit here. Yeah, they couldn't do much there. So against Togekiss, again they switch, so we're going to switch into Obstagoon straight away. Now what we want to do is, this matchup could be drawn out for quite a long time, so we're expecting that they'll try and switch back into the Togekiss as soon as they can. So we're going to overfarm on our energy quite a bit. So you see here we're just not throwing anything. And we can see our own switch clock is nearly up, so we're going to throw the Night Slash here. And now we can throw a Gunk Shot into the Togekiss. And they bring in a Swampert, so we're hoping to get to a Night Slash, and actually they farm us down, so that's not good. We should have just switched straight away into Scrafty. But we're still in a very good position here. We're going to let this go through. They have farmed quite a lot of energy, so we're going to shield this. It could be an Earthquake, and it is an Earthquake, so that's great. They switch and catch the foul play on the Giratina, so that was a good catch, but actually it helped us. And now we're just going to be able to counter down this Swampert, so they leave. Okay, so Alolan Ninetales in the lead. They switch into a Talonflame, so here, like I've said before, we want to throw the Shadow Ball and then switch into Obstagoon. They don't shield, and this is probably just a Flame Charge. Yeah, it is, so that's great. We can counter them down before they get to another move. And now we're going to be able to get to the Gunk Shot against this Ninetales. And we're able to take out the Ninetales. And now they have an Obstagoon in the back, so that's going to be GG's. We just have to shield this. They go for the Night Slash. I think their only play is to fish for the boost and hope that they can counter down the Scrafty. But they're not able to. We're not even going to bother shielding this one. And then we actually come in with Gengar to Shadow Claw them down. But yeah, they couldn't really do much there. Another Ninetales lead, and this time they're actually going to stay in. So what I normally do against Charmers, if they stay in, is throw the Shadow Ball straight away, and then if they shield, then I'm going to go straight for Shadow Punches, because you can't throw two Shadow Balls and then throw a third charge move, unfortunately, because Gengar's just too squishy. So what that does mean is that they will win switch advantage, but they'll be down a shield, because the Shadow Punch doesn't quite do enough, and we lag a bit there, and then we get sniped by the Giratina, which is actually okay for us because we have a very good answer to Giratina in Obstagoon. So we don't need to be as careful this time about the Ninetales coming back in, because we do have quite a lot of health. We still don't need to shield any of these Dragon Claws, they don't do too much. And we are going to take out this Giratina here before it gets to a final move. They're going to bring the Ninetales back in. We will shield this up. And now they have a Cresselia in the back. Because we have the boost, this is fairly comfortable for us. We can throw two Night Slashes. And then we're going to switch before they get to a charge move. And even a Moonblast isn't going to take out Scrafty at this health. And we can get to the foul play, take out the Cresselia, and then one counter is going to take out the Ninetales. And then finally, Shadow Granbull. This is actually pretty scary because they can just double shield and take us out, and then we basically have to rely on Obstagoon beating Shadow Charmer. But they actually didn't shield that, so that puts us in a really good position because, like usual, they switch into the Giratina. So we're going to go straight for Night Slashes. We get the boost, so that's really good. That means we can hit one more Night Slash and farm down. We're not going to shield this again because the Granbull is going to come back in, so there's no point having loads of health for it to farm us down. We throw the Night Slash straight away. They are able to charm us down, so they should be able to move now, but we can just shield this. The Shadow Claw went through, so we're going to switch straight away, and they have a Lapras in the back, so we're able to take that game. Alright, so leading into Venusaur, I don't see this as often in the Open Ultra League, but I like to just go straight Shadow Ball. They usually don't shield, so we can just shield this. Obviously it's just a frenzy plant, but it does do quite a lot of damage, and a healthy Gengar is pretty good because of cases like this where they have a Shadow Machamp in the back. We bait out the Machamp with the Obstagoon, and unfortunately we can't get to the second Night Slash, but we're in a pretty good position here. We have a shield, so we're going to bring in the Gengar. We're going to shield this. We're going to farm a little bit and then throw the Shadow Punch. And they are able to get to another Rock Slide, and because this is a Shadow Machamp, it's going to take us out. But we can come in with Scrafty, and now that's pretty much GG's. They could have Iron Head or Thunder maybe, but that's not going to do much damage to Scrafty. And they actually go with Stone Edge, so yeah, Scrafty can quite easily run over Aggron. So that was a strange team. We lead into Lapras, so we're going to switch into Obstagoon straight away. They bring in an Escavalier. This is fine, this is where we want to see it. They can't straight farm us down, so they have to throw. And they actually go for an Acid Spray, so we're able to get to another Night Slash. And we get a second boost, so unfortunately we can't take advantage of it fully because they had a counter user, but that was pretty cool to get the back-to-back boost. We will shield this, and it is a drill run, so that was a good shield. They come in with Alolan Muck, and we probably should have stayed in because it was a Poison Jab Muck. And yeah, they can't really do anything to Scrafty, they can just throw Acid Spray because they're likely running Dark Pulse. So we'll let this Acid Spray go through as well. And then we're going to throw the Foul Play, and it is resisted, but it'll do more damage than Power Up Punch will. And we simultaneously KO. We're going to throw the Shadow Ball straight away because they're unlikely to shield the first one, and now we have to charge up to back-to-back Shadow Punches. And it looks like the opponent was charging up to back-to-back Surfs, but because we're Gengar we win CMP, so that was probably a CMP tie there as well, and we're able to take this game. Okay, so Empoleon, you don't see that often in the Open Ultra League, but it's usually the same Double Dragon lineup that you see in the Ultra Premier. This is probably just going to be an Octazooka. They do get the debuff, so they're going to have control of switch advantage, but we will be able to force a shield because we can outpace them with Night Slash. So we do get the shield there, but we weren't really keeping track of the energy that they had. So we're going to come in with Scrafty, and then we're going to shield this. Fortunately, we don't get the debuff, so that's great. It's a Shadow Dragonite, so we're going to go throw the Foul Play, and then we're going to switch into Gengar, and that forces them to switch into Empoleon. We'll go for the Shadow Ball, and if they try to farm us down, then we're going to go for another Shadow Ball, and we're able to get it through, so that's great. And now here we can just go straight Power Out Punch, and my opponent leaves. Okay, so against Umbreon, we have to switch out into Obstagoon straight away. My opponent is slow to switch, and they switch into a Dragonite. So all we have to do here is double shield. Because if we can align our Scrafty with the Umbreon, then that's pretty much GG's really. Such a one-sided matchup. So we get to the Night Slash, and they let it go through, and we get an attack boost, so we're going to shield this just to be sure, and then farm them down. And they actually switch into Talonflame, so we're going to force them to throw here, which they do, and then we're going to come in with Gengar. Hopefully they let us take them out, otherwise we're in a bit of trouble. This will be a CMP tie because it only takes 2 Incinerates to get to the second Flame Charge, and luckily they do let it go through, so now we can switch into Scrafty, and this is going to be GG's. They do still have a Dragonite in the back, but it's pretty low health, and after we've boosted a couple times, yeah, there's not much they can do. And obviously we still have a very healthy Gengar in the back. So yeah, we're just going to play out this matchup. We're able to farm down the Umbreon, and then they quit there, and I don't blame them. Okay, another Umbreon lead. We're going to switch into Obstagoon. They switch into Machamp, so yeah, we can't do anything there. We throw the Night Slash at the last second, hoping that they think it's a Gunk Shot, and they do, so they shield. But yeah, we can't really do anything here now. We just have to hope that Scrafty can 2v1 whatever they've got in the back, which is possible, but I guess we'll just see. So we throw the Shadow Punch here, we take out the Machamp, so we switch into Scrafty, and unfortunately it's Cresselia. Moonblast isn't going to KO the Scrafty, but it does so much damage that even against Umbreon, Scrafty isn't going to be able to take it out. So we do shield the first one. We throw the Foul Play. Unfortunately it doesn't do enough damage. They're going to get the Moonblast through. We're going to try to snipe them down with the Gengar, but yeah, we couldn't. And then we'll throw the Shadow Ball. My opponent shields this, and they're going to farm us down, so we just quit. Yeah, we couldn't do anything there, unfortunately. Sometimes that happens, but it doesn't happen too often, so you know, if you can play around it, then try to. Galvantula is very tricky. Sort of beats my whole team apart from Gengar, and what I like to do is throw on CMP. So after 6 Shadow Claws, I'll throw the Shadow Punch, and then I'll throw the Shadow Ball. And now I want to switch into Obstagoon here because we'll get to the Night Slash before they get to the 3rd charge move, but they have a counter switch in Escavalier. They throw on CMP, but we survive that, so we're going to be able to throw the Night Slash and take them out. It actually might have been better if we didn't get the boost there, and that way we could have farmed down with Gengar, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And now we're going to go in with Gengar. They throw Lunge, strange. Obviously Gengar being Poison and Ghost, it double resist Lunge, and now they have an Umbreon in the back, so that's going to be GG's. We already know how this goes. Seen it quite a few times now, and they quit. Galarian Stunfisk, I only saw this once in the lead. I guess most people are using their Galarian Stunfisk in the Remix Cup at the moment. Unfortunately we lag, so we can't switch out on 8. So 8 is going to be when they get to the Earthquake, and they have a good counter swap in Scrafty. But my opponent lags there, I think. I'm not sure if it was just visual lag or not. We get to the Gunk Shot, they don't shield, and then we simultaneously KO. So that's pretty good for us. We're going to bring in the Scrafty. They bring Stunfisk back in. This is going to be an Earthquake because they baited with Rock Slide earlier. We're going to throw the Power Up Punch. They have a Gyarados, so we're going to throw the Foul Play, and then we're going to switch into Gengar and throw the Shadow Ball. It's unlikely that they use 2 shields in such quick succession, so yep, they don't shield that, and now we're in a good position. We can shield the Aqua Tail, farm them down, then we'll get to a Shadow Punch, and now this Stunfisk is going to have to farm up to a Rock Slide and then throw an Earthquake into our Scrafty. So there they threw at the perfect time just before we got to the Shadow Punch. But they can only get to a Rock Slide here, and we got the counter through. Rock Slide isn't going to KO, so we're going to be able to take this game. And this is the final matchup here. So against Jellicent, we're going to throw the Shadow Ball, and then if they don't shield, then we'll stay in. If they do shield, we'll switch into Obstagoon. We'll let this go through. It's probably a Bubble Beam. And it is, and now they have their own Obstagoon. So we can only really throw Night Slash, and they don't shield because we're debuffed. So now they probably know that we don't have Cross Chop, which is unfortunate. But they do throw anyway, so that's good. We'll let this go through. They undercharged it, and we get an extra 2 counters through. So that was pretty good for us. Now we're going to let this Cross Chop go through as well. This is probably a Bubble Beam as well, so we'll let it go through. We're going to throw the Foul Play. And now we're going to switch into Gengar. They have a Snarl, Alolan Muck. So we'll throw the Shadow Ball. They have overfarmed quite a bit now, but there's no point in shielding because they can just farm us down. And now against Snarl Alolan Muck, Scrafty can double shield this. They probably will throw 2 Dark Pulses, but the Snarl's doing hardly any damage. So we're fine here, we'll just double shield. We know that this isn't going to be an Ice Beam, which means it's probably going to be a Bubble Beam, so we're going to raise our attack back up. And now our Foul Play should KO. And now we can counter down the Alolan Muck and take that game. So those are all the leads I have video examples of on my way to Legend Rank this season. There are a few other common leads that you might see. So Abomasnow, what you want to do is just switch into Obstagoon straight away. Alolan Muck, if it's Poison Jab, you want to stay in for a bit and then throw a Shadow Ball before switching. If it's got Snarl, then just switch straight away into Obstagoon. If they have Berserker, then you want to switch into Obstagoon straight away, and if you can, throw the Night Slash after they've thrown 6 Shadow Claws. That way it's a CMP tie, because they'll likely throw a Close Combat and then switch out. But if you throw on the charge move, then they'll lower their defense and they can't switch out, so you'll likely get a shield back or deal quite a lot of damage. So fetched. That can be pretty difficult just because of how much damage Night Slash does, but you do want to stay in with Gengar unless they switch out. Alolan Ninetales with Powder Snow instead of Charm is actually pretty difficult because the Weather Balls do a lot of damage to the Gengar, but the Dazzling Gleam almost one-shots the Obstagoon and it will one-shot Scrafty, so You sort of just have to try and catch a Weather Ball if you can. Ferrothorn, it probably doesn't matter if you stay in or not. Maybe you want to try and catch a Flash Cannon on the Obstagoon, but it is a pretty favourable matchup. You probably just want to go straight Shadow Ball. Mandibuzz, I guess, you want to switch straight into Obstagoon. But yeah, it'd be mostly like XL Pokemon that you might start seeing more and more of as people have more resources to, or more XL candies to power them up. So if you made it this far into the video, then give yourself a pat on the back. I really appreciate anyone who stayed this far into the video. It means a lot to me. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like. Maybe let your friends know about this as well. Share it if you want. This team does really work well, and yeah, hopefully you can use it to get to legend rank or whatever your goal is in GBL. And if you do that, please do let me know about it. I'd love to hear about that. And with that being said, thanks for watching,